There are now restrictions in place for how much meat you will be able to buy at the grocery store. The reason for these restrictions is because the meat processing plants were forced to shut down in the lockdown because workers work so close together that it was going to get many people sick. On top of that, I've heard stories about many chickens getting sick and dying, and basically the meat industry is under extreme stress during this virus, and apparently things are not going so well. So what does that mean for you and me, and how can we move forward knowing that this is the case and it might be hard to get meat? Before we move on, don't forget to push the like button below this video so the YouTube algorithm knows that this video is cool, more people see it, we can grow our community so we can hang out with more like-minded and cool people, and that would be great. So just hit that like button so we can move forward. Let's go. Full disclosure, I am a vegan. I've been eating a plant-based diet for about 5 years now, maybe 4, maybe 3. I don't really know. I haven't really kept full track of it, but it's been a good amount of time, and I've been able to notice what it does to my body when I eat meat versus when I don't eat meat, and it's been a very interesting experience. So that being said, I am going to try to leave that out of this discussion. Another thing I want to touch on is that if you know someone, or if you are someone who worked in a meat processing plant and you lost your job, I have empathy, sympathy for that. I feel bad for you. It's a hard time for a lot of people right now, and this video is not meant to put anybody down or make anybody feel less than they should based on their human value and what they can provide for the world. I'm just simply looking at the facts and looking at how everything went down. Once they started realizing that this was going to be a problem and they were going to have to cut consumption of meat for the entire country, as you know, Americans love their meat, so it was a big deal. And Trump actually went on camera saying, we're gonna place an executive order to open up all of the meat processing plants. So what happened when he did that was he actually placed an executive order that doesn't really say that at all. I read this article in the Washington Post that shows that Trump doesn't really have the authority to tell people to make meat processing plants open. He can't, and they can stay closed for as long as they want in order to keep the workers safe. However, what he did do was place an act that dates back to 1950 that says that they will need to produce things for the military as the military needs it. So basically that's saying that if they want to open, they can, because they need to produce for the military so that the military has meat. Okay, very interesting stuff, but it is not the same as saying you must open and it's a executive order to open all meat processing plants. That is very different, but that is what Trump said in his news release. So now the meat processing plants are held to this standard of, well, we're being told we have to open by the president, but in reality, legally, they are not being told that they have to open, and the workers and their families probably do not want them to open so that they don't get sick and they don't, spread the virus. It's all extremely fascinating stuff, so what can we do about it? Well, if I was you, I would start looking at alternatives to eating meat. Now, here's the thing. I've been eating plant-based, completely plant-based, no dairy, no meat for years now, and I'll tell you, it's not as hard as you think. There is protein available in many plant foods, all plant foods, really. And one of the main things we can do is just eat more beans, eat more nuts, eat more seeds. They have protein in it. If you're actually worried about protein, then that is your best bet. So when you start eating those things, you're replacing the protein you would have had from meat. But here's another secret. We actually don't need as much protein as you might think. If you don't believe me, read the book, The Protein Myth. That is a really cool book by Dr. Garth Davis. I'm sure you've seen many of the arguments for living a healthy lifestyle and how meat doesn't necessarily fully fit the picture of living that healthy, anti-inflammatory lifestyle where our body can handle any and all of the stressors that come towards it. Now, if you want your body to be able to do that, one of the best ways to do it is to eat more plants. Now, I'm not saying go vegan. I'm not saying eat only plants. I'm saying eat more plants. So if you are finding that you can get less meat from the store and you're being limited on the amount of meat you can consume, It's a great time to become healthy. It's a great time to focus on getting more plants into your diet so that you can feel the energy that actually comes from that and allow yourself to let go of some of that older stuff that maybe you don't need anymore. Maybe the meat industry was kind of meant to collapse whether or not this coronavirus thing happened. I don't know. I'm just a guy on YouTube. But what I do think is it's clear that the meat processing plants have some extreme inefficiencies. If it takes that amount of people to actually work the plant, and they have to work in close quarters, plus the amount of death and virus that could easily be spread between animals when it comes to working with their dead bodies and the blood and the guts of these animals, and cross-contamination. There's a lot of problems when it comes to factory farming and when it comes to meat processing plants. And I think it's all coming to light now as everybody's starting to realize all of these things that maybe would have stayed in the dark a little bit longer had it not been for our country's almost complete shutdown here. So let me take the time and ask, how are you handling this? Are you a big meat eater, and are you going to continue eating meat? Are you finding it hard to find that meat? Comment below. I actually don't really know at all because I have been eating fully plant-based for so long. I kind of don't have any clue about meat at this point. As a vegan, I find it kind of funny that the meat processing plants are having trouble. But besides, of course, the humans that lost their jobs, I feel deeply for them and their families. This is not about that. What I mean is the global impact of the meat processing plants shutting down can end up being positive in the long term, as long as more of us start to, help people eat more plants so that we can, make this transition a little bit easier. Now, is this going to change things moving forward? I don't know. We could just go right back to the way things were. We could just go right back to depending on meat in every single meal like most Americans do. But it's looking hopeful that now is a good time for people to change, for people to think about things a little bit differently. Does it make sense to eat something that is dead and that has been killed by another human being in order for us to eat it when it's not really necessary? You can get more than enough of the nutrients you need from plants. It's very simple to do so, and it's actually healthier long term, and you're reducing the inflammation in the body. There's a lot of science that goes into this. I actually have hours and hours of study into the field of nutrition based on getting a nutritionist certificate back in 2018. So I do know a lot about nutrition, but I'm not here to teach you everything that I know. Just to say, if you want to be healthy, eat more plants. And, since we can't eat meat, maybe start eating more plants. And hopefully those meat processing plants get opened back up for the sake of people's jobs. But other than that, part of me hopes they just stay closed, because I don't want people to, be continually feeding that giant engine that is the meat industry, that I believe has destroyed many people's lives, made a lot of people sick, and used deceptive marketing to try and create the American people into consuming their products. So that's my take on it. What do you think about it? Comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. My name is Ryan Kearns. Bye-bye. Hey, free thinker. This human life is more amazing than we give credit for. The pain, the fun, the creativity, the mistakes, and the connected, shared experiences. We are here to expand. Let's do it together.